Give us your name and your profession.
My name is Lauren. My producer name is Lowray the producer, and I'm a producer.
How did you get started?
So I got started. It's kind of been a long road. So when I was 12, I got a keyboard from my grandmother, and I used to play on it all the time. And then I also get babysat by my uncle, and he had an iMac computer, and I was just playing around on the computer, and I discovered GarageBand. And then from there, I would take like loops and I would mix them together and like create songs and stuff. Then I would burn them on CDs, kind of showing my age a little bit. And I would like play them for my mom in the car all the time and bug her. And then from then on, I started making beats on like my iPad. Then once I got to college, I started using Logic Pro because my school had like a music studio. So I would go in there and keep creating, and I've been doing it ever since.
Okay, so is your mom, your grandma, is she's a music artist? She does music.
No, no. I feel like everybody's grandmother is like a proclaimed like church organist, but outside of that, no, she's not really a musician.
So I see in your bio you have this 120 BPM enthusiast. Explain that to me. I know BPM stands for beats per minute, but I never seen the 120. So
I don't know. I feel like it's that nice little like mid-tempo, bouncy kind of BPM. A lot of my beats are usually around there because I make like trap R&B, so it's usually very like chill with some bounce. And I feel like that 120 BPM just really kind of suits it well. That's also like the default for Logic that I use, my DAW that I use. So most of the time I'll just like start playing with that, and most of the time I won't even change it. So that's kind of how that came about.
what's the oldest piece of equipment you think you still own?
So I don't actually know how old it is, but I got it from a coworker. It's an Akai MPK 49. I've used it on a lot of my tracks. 'Cause I like having enough keys to kind of like play stuff out because I like a lot of like harmonies and layering like chords and stuff. So I don't feel like it's older than me, of course, but I definitely feel like it's got to be at least maybe 6 to 8 plus years old.
Okay. And it's still holding up, so it's at the great age. It's at the
No,
wise
it's
age.
great, and I got it for free, so.
Okay, that's even better. Um, so you're an artist, but you also I know you also do like the business part of the brand, which is who you are, and you're producing. How do you balance both of those, like being the creative and the business owner at the same time?
Yeah, honestly, I'm not gonna say it's something that comes easily. I feel like I do kind of have some bits of like that entrepreneurial spirit, but it can be very hard at times to, focus on the business the way you want to focus on the creative. Like everybody wants to make beats and stuff, but nobody wants to fill out the metadata for like the platform that they're uploading beats to and stuff like that. So it really just comes down to like setting a schedule. So like what I have set up, I have like block scheduling. So I have like this time where I need to like write out an email to my email list, or like this time where I need to upload artwork for beats, or this time where I need to fill out a spreadsheet or something like that. And I feel like just being able to schedule it and kind of see it, kind of like you would like a regular like 9 to 5, I feel like that helps a lot.
Okay, you sound like you got it planned out. I need to get on that wavelength right there.
I will say it's a work in progress, but we're trying to get some things together.
All right, so you say you burn CDs, so that means me and you might be around like the same age, or we know like the same type of, greatness. How do you combat or even adjust to like marketing on social media? Because like back in the days, it's pretty much was like word of mouth, or like I'm gonna try to pass out like CDs or beats here, beats there. How are you like? I don't know. I would say adjusting, or even like still against like marketing via social media.
Yeah, so I will say I feel like I'm like the at the end tail of like the millennials. So I dealt with like the dial up, but I also was in the age of technology. So like it was normal for me to have like computers and like computer labs in school and stuff. And it was normal for me to have a phone, granted like a flip phone in like middle school. So I'm kind of like at the cusp of that like millennial Gen Z edge. But at the same time, I think for me, it's just kind of fun. I think I've had my lulls like where I'll be like really into it and then like really not, because I think I like kind of showing off my personality as well as like my music, but I'm not necessarily like I'm not a videographer, so sometimes creating content can be a little tough just because it's not something I'm naturally very good at. But I think for me, it's always just come down to, being able to show off my craft and my personality at the same time. So like I might like crack a joke or I might say something silly or, make like a cute like pose or something like that. But just something to showcase that, I'm being true to myself while also, showing what I can do as well. So I'll definitely say it's been an adjustment, but that as well as doing like a lot of research. So you got to kind of figure out what's going on, what the trending sounds are, but also just kind of, stepping out of your comfort zone. And at the end of the day, like, sometimes you just got to just do it. So that's kind of how I approach it too.
So we're both female artists. How do you feel about pretty much like any industry like pending or pinning us against each other, or even like prolonging like beef? Because the current beef right now is Nicki and Lotto. Yeah. Which I feel like it's a valid like argument, disagreement, anything they want to say like that. But I also feel like us as women, we can handle that like behind the scenes, deal with it, and like still progress and move on. How do you feel about like how like the outside sources are making it like more of a bigger thing?
Yeah, honestly, it's sad to see, and I felt for a second like when I think when Megan first kind of came up, like Megan the Stallion when she first kind of came up, I thought we were kind of getting to a place where like we could have all these like female rappers kind of coexist, because by then I feel like it was like Megan the Stallion, Cardi B, Nicki Minaj, City Girls, and like so many others, and there are a bunch of other like rappers I like too. I can consider Doja Cat a rapper as well as like I really like Flo Milli. Like there's so many of them, so it really is just kind of disappointing, but I don't know. I feel like I still believe that, women can coexist in the industry. I do think there are a lot of situations of like he said, she said, where something someone said will get, misconstrued or will just get taken like way out of context. And, when it's in the internet or out in the internet, you can't get that back. So I think that that alone probably causes like way more beefs than there probably should be. Now, why some artists decide to take it to social media after DMs, I don't know. I don't feel like that's very, helpful or productive, but I'm also not a celebrity, so I guess I wouldn't know.
I mean, but I think um, what we've seen for so many years now is that when the media get a hold of things, or even when like blog sites just make assumptions, like it just get crazy. So the fact that like artists are like dealing with it on the social platform, for some I understand because they're like younger, so that is like legit like the place they go to. Besides like people that they can like connect to, in their family or in their circle, and they might not even have those people, but like I said, time and time again, like examples of having everything on the internet has been like proven to not do the best. So I'm just confused over like it always end up being like, all right, it's now on the internet. So now it's for all of us to say who's wrong or right. When they could have just dealt with that like on their own, like in their own time.
Oh, I definitely agree. I've never really been one, not to, shame anybody or anything, but I've never really been one to put my like personal business out there. I'll be like, oh, I ate an apple today, not like I can't stand this rapper XYZ. Like, so, I guess everybody has to kind of get their stuff out in their own way. But yeah, I definitely don't think it's the best look right now. Honestly, I hope they resolve it. I feel like they both make, good music. So it would be nice for them to hopefully squash it. Or honestly, I hope it's like one of those things where it's just one big like blow up for like promo or something like that. Like I feel like, getting a lot of press and then like throwing some single or something. Or even if they gotta throw some diss tracks out to like get their anger out, like I prefer that. I wanna hear some music.
Definitely. What would you say is an instrument or even a piece of equipment that was the hardest for you to learn?
Honestly, I'm still kind of learning, but my MPK, not my MPK, my machine, was it MK3? They all have like the same name, so like, it's hard to differentiate them. But my machine, my little drum machine that I have, it's a very powerful tool, but there's just like so much to it. It has like that little slider at the bottom, so you can do stuff like I think you can play with like pitch and modulation, and also like what is it, the like beats, so like 1/16 of a beat or like 1/32 when you're dealing with like hi-hats and stuff and like rolls. So there's that. And then I also learned I don't know how long ago, but like you can actually do like chords, play chords and like notes on it. So I just feel like I thought it did like one or two things, and I'm starting to learn that it does so much more. And I think honestly, the interface isn't the most intuitive, maybe to me. I don't know if that's like just me and how I learn, or if the software is just kind of wonky. But I would definitely say that's probably the hardest I've had to, or hardest instrument for me to learn. Instrument.
How would you finesse your way into producing for a celebrity?
So I feel like it depends on how urgent it is. I feel like if I want to get on a song with Drake in like a week or something like that, my best bet would probably be to be either like spam my way into his DMs or like almost create, you know, like how some people will create like these just like wildly either controversial or like just outlandish like videos on TikTok and stuff. Like I would either create like a strategy to say something like even like saying I have a beef with like XYZ person or some, I mean that's kind of like ridiculous, but something just to like, you know, grab somebody's attention like the likes of a Drake or some other artist like that. But I think if I wanted to play the long game, I would start looking up some A&Rs and also engineers that he's maybe worked with or come in contact with, or looking up the engineers of some of the artists that he works with or that are assigned to him, and kind of like, you know, try and wiggle my way in through there by just connecting with them, creating relationships with them, and, you know, sending them beats if they either let me or request them.
So producers, I think in like the coming years or like the past probably like 10 years, we really like heard producers or like heard of producers and like really seeing them like in the forefront. And in the past, they were more so like in the back. Like if you was really in the music industry, you would know who produced something. Why do you think that producers are kind of like overlooked, even though they're the ones that's like initially like creating the the song?
Well, I really feel like it comes down to just like, you know, who the people see when you know, when you make something. Like when you're watching a movie, you know, you're there for the actor, not necessarily the director, unless it's like, you know, a Steven Spielberg or something of the sort. So I think it's more so just what those who like consume the content are seeing. And you know, when they see like music videos, award shows, performances and stuff, you know, you're seeing the artists first. You're not seeing the producers, you're not seeing the engineers or A&Rs, etc. You're seeing like the artist, the like star, the person whose, you know, name is on the beat and stuff like that. So I think honestly, I don't know. I feel like for most producers, that's probably how they want it, with maybe just a little more recognition. But for the most part, that's why I feel like we are kind of just like in the background. It's like partially by choice and partially just because, you know, we're not really the person the consumer necessarily wants to see.
Where does your love for R&B come from, or like what artists sparked this love for R&B for you?
So for me, I would definitely say my mom's music taste. Like, you know, when you're going to the car, you usually listen to whatever your mom has on the radio, so or whatever she's playing on her like iPod or phone or whatever. So for me, I used to listen to a lot of her like playlists and stuff, which is like a lot of like old oldies, like 80s and 90s kind of stuff. So, you know, once I started developing my own kind of like musical tastes, I like to listen to a lot of like Destiny's Child and like Beyonce, Usher and Brandy, like, you know, a lot of the like really hard hitting like R&B greats, as well as some of the like older and more pop sounding artists, like, you know, like a Whitney Houston, or like, you know, obviously like Michael Jackson's or Janet Jackson as well, like just some of those bigger artists, because it was partially what my mom listened to, and then I kind of like listened to the newer artists at the time who like were inspired by those people. And yeah, that's where I would say it came from.
Okay, if you could work with any of the older artists, just one, who would you pick?
Mm-hmm. Any of the older artists?
Yeah, so I'm gonna say from. Have you listened to music from the '70s or no? Like,
Yeah, I definitely know some.
so from the '70s to the '90s.
I feel like for me, Well, I would say if I could work with them today, it would probably be Beyonce, just because I love Beyonce. But if I had to work with anyone from any of the time periods, like during that time, I'm not sure. I feel like honestly, I feel like it would be kind of crazy to work with like Michael Jackson, especially around the time like he was creating like Thriller. I feel like just to be like a fly on the wall, or to be able to even have like a hand in seeing him and like Quincy Jones work together. I feel like that would be crazy.
That'd be dope. All right. What's more like what are we expecting from you in the future with your projects, your creations?
Yeah, so actually, I'm gonna say it so I can keep myself to hold myself to it. I really want to create like a Christmas instrumental EP. I love like Christmas music and even some of the instrumentals and stuff. So I think it'd be really fun to do that because it's something I haven't done before and it's something I've been wanting to do for a really long time. So I think that would be really cool to do. And also just like putting my face back out there again. I think there was a moment where I was a little hesitant to put stuff out on social media. So, I think this is honestly a good start for me, getting my camera set back up and really getting used to, putting myself in front of the camera again and, hopefully showing more of my process and, a little more of my funny and personality as well as like my music and stuff too.
If you could put any artist on this Christmas EP or like on any of the Christmas instruments you make, what artist or what handful of artists would you have on it?
I feel like I have to go with the Queen of Christmas, Mariah Carey. Like, I feel like it would be crazy to say anything else almost. Like, she makes at least 2 million a year with was it All I Want for Christmas Is You. So
On that back, maybe Bryson. He did a cool little Christmas something something.
honestly, like there are some artists that are coming out with some really fun stuff. Or honestly, like Tamar Braxton, I really like her little Christmas EP that she put out a few years ago. Like that was some quality work for like a Christmas album, especially. Like some of these artists are not playing with these holiday songs, so I feel like Tamar would also be really cool to work with.